All right, YouTube. This Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit, back with another video on this Wednesday. Now we got to talk about the leaked war plan that the journalists got by being in the group chat. I have a different take on it. Now, MSNBC, who I'm gonna do a reaction to, they're proud and boastful that the journalist was able to get leaked information that was about a war plan. So they want to expose it because they desperately want to make the Trump administration look incompetent and look bad. So they celebrate on the left at this mistake or whatever it was. But I have a different take on it because it exposes the level of treasonous, seditious behavior from the left. Why, if you did accidentally end up in the group chat, would you think it was a good idea to expose the country's war plan against a foreign enemy? Why would you expose that? Think about that. A war plan. Why would you endanger soldiers, the country, civilians, and everybody and every other American for clickbait, for likes and views, to continue to paint a narrative about your government to the world? To me, it seems very treasonous. It seems like they're traitors because they're not doing their same old usual. Find out about a scandal, or found out that you cheated on your wife, or found out that you have a drinking problem, or something like that. They're exposing war plans in detail to the world about a strike or plans that the government had for enemies of the nation. How is that acceptable? How is that funny? How is that something that MSNBC is proud of breaking as news? We're going to tell you what their war plan was. We're going to tell the world. We're going to tell the enemies of the country. We're going to tell everybody. As if they don't know that over the last 4 years of Joe Biden's administration, all kind of terrorists and seditious people have come across that border and are probably somewhere in this country as sales. Yeah. I know you don't doubt that. Out of 18 million people that came in this country, unvetted, military age, as soldiers, this channel, meaning MSNBC, thinks it's a good idea to expose their own government to the enemies. How does this not seem treasonous to you? Oh, you didn't see it yet. Maybe you didn't see how they talked about it on MSNBC. I'm going to show it to you. This is for fair usage under the 1976 Copyright Act for education and commentary. Check this out.
We are breaking here in with breaking news about the security breach where the Atlantic magazine's Jeffrey Goldberg was added to a text thread about U.S. military plans to strike Houthi militias in Yemen. Well, the administration officials involved, who are among the highest ranking in the U.S. government, insist no classified information was shared. Moments ago, a follow-up. Goldberg posted a follow-up piece entitled, "Here are the attack plans that Trump's advisors shared on Signal." He writes in part this.
Did you hear that? This is how you people are on the left. Here are the attack plans that Trump had, him and his administration, for their war or warfare in Yemen. He said, I'm going to show you what they were planning and what they were going to do. I'm going to show the world what their war plans were. And you guys out there, you really like that. You don't see how traitorous that is. Really?
The statements by Hegseth, Gabbard, Ratcliffe, and Trump, combined with the assertions made by numerous administration officials that we are lying about the context of the signal texts, have led us to believe that people should see the texts in order to reach their own conclusions, and then laid out in this latest piece, which broke.
Now, I'm interject right here and I'm gonna let it go. Why would the government admit to war plans that have been leaked and being exposed to the world? And then MSNBC said, well, since you're saying that it never happened or whatever happened, let us expose the plan. Let us give you a detailed rundown of what the military's plan was going to be on the battlefield. Listen to some more.
Just now in The Atlantic, Jonathan Lemire, everyone can see the text for themselves.
Yeah, the screenshots of the texts are included in this piece that Jeffrey Goldberg and Shane Harris just posted on The Atlantic's website. We'll go through a little bit of it now. The White House, as you just mentioned, has insisted time and again two things: that nothing in here was classified and that no war plans were included. Well, as Jeffrey and Shane write, take a look for yourself. I'll read a little bit of it here. These are texts from Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense, talking about at 11:44 Eastern that day. Weather is favorable. Just confirmed with CENTCOM. We're a go for mission launch. 12:15 texts in this chat. F-18's launch. Declares this the first strike package. At 1:45 talks about how the trigger-based strike window begins. Target terrorist is at known location. As here we are here. Second strike at 15:36. More to follow. We're currently clean on OPSEC. Of course, Secretary of Defense declares they're clean on OPSEC in a text chain read by the editor of The Atlantic, who is inadvertently added to that group. And we'll note a short time later, we have further updates from Michael Waltz, the National Security Advisor, who talks about how the target has been hit, declaring positive identifications. So these would seem to me, the very definition of attack plans. And I've already talked to a former Pentagon official who says, reading these screenshots hurriedly, of course, everything in here would be classified.
And leading up to that, of course, a lot of debate about it.
Now, did you guys hear that? They gave a detailed rundown of an attack plan of the U.S. military to the world. They dislike Trump and his administration so much that they will betray national interest in every American citizen in this country to foreign nationals just so they can create a narrative. The left is terrible. They got you cheering the destruction of Tesla when Tesla hires thousands of Americans. They got you thinking so anti-country, anti-God, anti-American that you think that this is acceptable. He's proudly revealing national security secrets, even if he was accidentally in a group text. What would make him think that it was smart or in the best interest of the country to reveal everything about a so-called war plan? Let's get some more.
On Signal. Joining us now, Editor-in-Chief of The Atlantic, Jeffrey Goldberg. Jeffrey, would you like to talk a little bit more about the decision to release these?
Well, sure. Well, first of all, we didn't do this lightly. And all yesterday, we were asking our contacts across the administration, national security complex, CIA, DNI, et cetera, do you have any, since the president has declared this unclassified and since the DNI, since the head of the CIA said there's nothing sensitive or nothing classified in these documents, we just want to make sure that you don't have specific objections to to this kind of information going out in public. The White House issued us an anodyne statement late last night saying they think that some of this is sensitive and they would rather not have it out there, but there was no objections to specific details. We did redact one piece of information because we felt on our own that we felt it was best to do, and the CIA asked us. But, at a certain point, the administration is saying that there's nothing classified or secret or sensitive in these. So at a certain point, I just felt, let our readers decide for themselves. Read these texts that I got sitting in my car on my phone in a Safeway parking lot 2 hours before the attack launched, and you tell me if this seems like good operational security. And really, I really mean it. Let the readers decide.
Right. And Jonathan Lemire, two issues here. Of course, that Jeffrey was included on this. And there have been accusations made over the airwaves, I believe by Mike Waltz, that there was some sort of foul play on Jeffrey's part. I'd love Jeffrey to respond to that. But also the fact that this was on Signal is a big issue as well.
Yeah, so Jeffrey, let's start there. Sure you've heard, President of the United States called you a sleazebag. Members of his top officials in his administration used similar terminology to describe you and your reporting here. So first, just respond to that, and we'll go from there.
Well, I mean, it's kind of rude. First, they invite me to their Signal chat, and then they call me names. That doesn't seem right. And I've seen these. I mean, I get it. Mike Waltz is looking for the real killer. The simple truth of the matter is, on March 11th, Mike Waltz sent me a message request on Signal, and I accepted it. That's the entire story. I mean, there's no daring do here. I entirely passively accepted his request to connect on Signal. I'm not going to comment on my relationship with Mike Waltz. He's been saying unserious and unkind things about me. That's okay. But the story is the story.
Yeah.
March 11th, he reached out. March 13th, I'm added to the Houthi PC small group. March 15th, they announced to the small group before the attack occurs that the attack is occurring and what weapons they're using. And then I began the process of writing up what I thought was a story about a massive security breach at the highest levels of the United States government. That's the story.
Yeah, it is a massive security breach, although I think the one positive here is that readers can decide for themselves. There is
the one positive here, and this is the purpose of journalism, because it's like we discovered something the government was doing that was wrong and dangerous, and they could have responded by saying, we shouldn't have been on Signal, we won't do it again.
Right.
That would have been an easy way to deal with this.
It would have been
He's making light of what he did because he could have wrote the story without the details. He could have just said that he was added by accident to a group text and certain information was leaked. And the government would have had to do the same thing, which is check their security systems and make sure things were secure for the next time. But that's not what this is about. This is about fomenting distrust in the country, in the administration. This is about undermining your own government. This is about Atlantic using this opportunity to undermine national security, to actually instill more traitorous and treasonous behavior from the left, from the socialists, from the communists, from the anti-God, anti-country Democratic Party. They're trying to minimize it, but you have to think about this for real. They are revealing national secrets to the world about warfare.
a lot easier than the way they're dealing with it now, because they have a lot of different conflicting stories that they're putting out there. Also, I think trying to defame your character to an extent, and I take issue with that. And Jonathan, on top of it, they're using an unsecured commercial app.
Yeah, unsecured commercial app on phones that themselves potentially could be vulnerable. Jeffrey, let's get you to respond, if we could, to in real time. The White House Press Secretary Karen Leavitt just posted she took a screenshot of the Atlantic headline, which reads, I will say again for the viewers, here are the attack plans that Trump advisors shared on Signal. She writes this: the Atlantic has conceded these were not, quote, war plans. The entire story was another hoax written by a Trump hater, yada, yada. So, Jeffrey, does this seem like they're parsing the difference between a war plan and an attack plan?
I don't even know what that means. I mean, the plain language in the text is, well, yeah, what are they arguing? That an attack is different than a war? They put operational details of a forthcoming attack on a terrorist organization into Signal, into a Signal chat that included phone numbers that they didn't recognize. I don't even understand what that means. They're talking about attacking and killing terrorists using various weapon systems.
He's saying the quiet part out loud. If they're talking about attacking and eliminating terrorists, why are you exposing it? Why are you making this the big story when you are clearly saying that they're targeting and eliminating terrorists? Nobody sees anything wrong with this picture. I know Goldberg wants to act like he's so First Amendment and he's so much a person of the people, but that's not his motivation. Or he would have kept a lot of those details about weapons and different strikes to himself. Or he would have shared them maybe with the administration, what he was privy to, but not the world.
So she's just playing some sort of weird semantic game. I don't understand.
So let's talk about those texts a little further. And as you say, you're allowing readers to decide for themselves what they mean. But just walk us through some of the texts you saw there from particularly the Secretary of Defense and then later the National Security Advisor about the operation that day in Yemen.
ProPlan is always advancing with game-changing formulas that promote mental.
Right. Look, the key thing here is this is an interesting one you have up on the screen. This is Mike Waltz in a commercial messaging app providing real-time intelligence updates about the consequences of an American attack. Obviously, there's a challenge here for secrecy, because if you know this, the question then arises, how do they know this, and what kind of assets do they have, technical or human assets, that would know that? But the core of this chain is the statement, is the long text issued by Pete Hegseth 2 hours before the first bombs fell in Yemen. Everybody can find it on the Atlantic website now, in which he goes hour by hour, sometimes minute by minute. Here's what's going to happen. And the thing that really struck me as I'm, again, reading this on my phone in a Safeway parking lot, the thing that really struck me is that he's telling me and others that an attack hasn't even begun yet, but the planes are launching in 31 minutes. You know, like, imagine this text went to someone else. I mean, if that's not secret, classified information about, or the most sensitive kind of government information in the world, I don't know what is. I mean, is Caroline Levitt is arguing that it's not a war because Congress didn't declare war on Yemen. Okay, fine. She wants to play a semantic game, but this is operational details.
Let me also say this. He said they were eliminating terrorists, but he's naming their actual names for terrorists to know. Well, we have to target Pete Hegseth or whatever. Look at the level of this snitching, this betrayal, all to create a narrative from the left. It seems like they're getting worse and worse.
About a forthcoming attack on an enemy that has anti-aircraft capabilities. They've allegedly shot down our drones before. So why you would tell anyone in the world on a messaging app that American pilots are about to fly into a, sorry for the expression, war zone, that's an interesting question.
What do you really think about that? Just play over in your mind what all he was revealing, how he was using names, how he was, you know what I mean, exposing, even if it was an accident or weakness from the administration to allow that signal to go to him. Look at how he's marketing it and putting it to the world. Think about terror organizations who are listening to him. Think about that. Think about all the enemies of this country that are listening to him. We already know the people on the left, they're celebrating, they're happy. They think, oh, we made Trump look bad. We made Trump look bad by exposing war plans. Man, it's getting bad. It's getting worse. Well, that's all I have for you so far this morning. This is Detroit's HPTV coming to you out of Detroit. As always, salute to all patriots. Like, share, and subscribe. Peace. Keep your head on the swivel.